A total of 64 members, honorable members, have appended their signature. And the honorable members, this is the list of the 64 members who have appended their signature. Honorable members, I'm therefore persuaded that this form is duly prepared and the signatures contained therein exceed the provided one threshold. Consequently, I therefore elect the mover of the motion of Evans Mawira to take the floor and move the motion. Honorable Evans Mawira.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As you have noted, my name is Evans Mawira Kawira. I do represent the great people of Mutembei Ward, and also I am the majority leader of the leader of the majority party in this county assembly. Honorable Speaker, I have a special motion on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor Meru County Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, and with your permission, Honorable Speaker, I'll move the motion. Whereas Articles 10 and 73 of the Constitution, Section 3 and 16 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, and Sections 9, 10, and 12 of the Public Officers Act, Ethics Act 2003, establish, among others, the rule of law, democracy, human dignity, courtesy, respect, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, integrity, professionalism, non-discrimination, protection of the marginalized, good governance, transparency, and accountability as part of the national values and principles of governance. Articles 10, 73, and 75 of the Constitution require state officers at all times, whether in public or private life, to behave in a manner that, among other things, brings honor to the nation and dignity to the office that state officer owns. 2, ensures decisions are not influenced by nepotism, favoritism, or other improper motives. 3, demonstrates discipline and commitment in service to the people. And 4, avoids demeaning the office that a state officer owns. Articles 10, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, and Sections 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Governments Act 2012 provide for the values and principles of public service and establish an elaborate regulatory framework for the establishment of county public offices and the recruitment, employment, deployment, transfer, and dismissal of county public officers. Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Governments Act, and Standing Order number 65 of the Standing Orders of the Assembly provide for the impeachment of county governors for 1, gross violation of the Constitution; 2, gross violation of any other law; 3, abuse of office; and 4, gross misconduct. The governor has, despite a previous impeachment process and warnings from the Senate, persisted in discreditable acts that singly and collectively amount to 1, gross violation of the Constitution; 2, gross violation of various national and county laws; 3, gross abuse of office; and 4, gross misconduct. 6, the discreditable acts have exposed the office of the governor, the office of the deputy governor, and the assembly and its leadership and people of Meru County to national shame, scandal, embarrassment, ridicule, and disgrace. The discreditable acts have created a toxic environment in which the governor cannot be legitimately expected or relied upon to work harmoniously with the deputy governor, county government staff, MCAs, and other elected leaders. The governor's continued stay in office has persistently undermined effective and efficient service delivery and gravely hurt the interests of the people of the county. Therefore, the Assembly resolves to impeach the governor under Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Governments Act, and Standing Order 65 of the Standing Orders of the Assembly on the following grounds. Honorable Speaker, County number 1, misappropriation and misuse of county resources. where the governor has grossly violated Articles 10, 73, 201 to 226 subsection sub-article 5, 227 and 232 of the Constitution, sections 8, 12, 13 subsection 1, 16, 17 and 35 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, sections 55 and 66 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, sections 45(2) and 46 of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act by engagement, connivance and or complicity in the following: A, embezzlement of county funds through the governor's sisters, that is Rose Kinya Gwantai and Miriam Gwantai, brother they are ineligible to tender for or supply any goods or services to the county government. C, paying full salary and benefits for more than a year to Dr. Tweety, who is the CEO of County Revenue Board, Paul Mwaki, CEO of Liquor Board, Kenneth Kimathi Mbaya, CEO of Meru Microfinance, and Joseph Kithure Mberia, CEO MEWAS, while knowing that those officers were not rendering any services to the county. And D, the diversion and misuse of county resources, including funds and motor vehicles, to run the governor's private charity, dubbed Okolea, despite a previous promise to the Senate in previous impeachment proceedings to refrain from conflicting official county operations and Okolea operations. Honorable Speaker, the evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, or complicity in the preceding gross violation of the Constitution and the law, gross misconduct, gross abuse of office is to be found in A complaint by Dranera Salesi Mutuma to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the EACC, dated 11th August 2023, and the attachment to it, a copy of which is produced on pages 1 to 29 of the exhibits. B, a letter by the Clerk of the Assembly dated 9th October 2023, requesting a certified copy of Meru County IFMIS records, a copy of which is produced on pages 30 of the exhibits. C, a letter by the County Executive Committee member for Finance dated 11th October 2023, declining to furnish a certified copy of Meru County IFMIS records on frivolous grounds, thus inviting an adverse inference against the governor in relation to the complaint raised by Mutuma Salesio Dranera, a copy of which is produced on pages 31 to 32 of the exhibit. D, payslips for Dr. John Tweety, Joseph Kithure Mberia, and Kenneth Kimathi Mbaya, copies of which are produced on pages 33 to 41 of the exhibits. And E, the Maua Chief Magistrates Court miscellaneous criminal application number E085 of 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 42 to 47 of the exhibits. F, charge sheets against Alessio Munene Kanga, alias Samaritan, and Isayan Toribi Kiyuki, employees of the county government, relating to the violence that erupted at the governor's Okolea rally at Makiri, copies of which are produced on pages 48 to 49 of the exhibits. G, payslips for Salesio Munene Kanga, alias Samaritan, and Isayan Toribi Kiyuki, confirming their status as employees of the county, copies of which are produced on pages 50 to 51 of the exhibits. And H, a video recording of the violence that erupted at the Okolea rally held at Makiri on 16 September 2023, which is saved in the flash disk presented herewith, and the transcript of which is produced on pages 52 and 53 of the exhibits. Honorable Speaker, count number 2 involves nepotism and related unethical practices. The governor has grossly violated, among others, 1. Articles 10 to 32, to 35, and to 36 of the Constitution, Sections 12, 17, and 24 of the Public Officer Ethics Act 2003, Sections 13, subsection 1, B, F, 16, and 24 of the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, and sections 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Governments Act 2012. By engagement, connivance, and our complicity in the following: A, fraudulently misrepresenting the governor's relatives as a technical team for purposes of travel to China to inspect and certify cancer treatment equipment, while knowing that the governor's relatives are not medical professionals. B, employing Edwin Mutuma Murangeri, who is a nephew to the governor's husband, as the CEO of Meru Youth Service MYS and acting chief officer of the Department of Finance. C, the designation of Nefat Kenywa, who is the governor's brother-in-law, as the director of external leakages without transparent and competitive recruitment. And D, assigning diplomatic duties, namely engagements with foreign diplomats and dignitaries to unqualified sisters, that is Miriam, a copy of which is produced on pages 54 to 56 of the exhibit. The governor's response to the letter alluded to in subparagraph A above, confirming the employment status of the governor's close relative, a copy of which is produced on pages 57 to 59 of the exhibits. C, letters, both in English and Chinese, by Beijing Leak Tech Company Limited, dated 25th April 2023, inviting the governor to China to benchmark cancer treatment equipment for installation at a cancer center in Meru, copies of which are produced on pages 60 to 67 of the exhibits. A letter from the county government to the State Department for Devolution, dated 26th May 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 68 to 75 of the exhibits. An internal memo by Kusa Azel to the Principal Secretary, State Department for Devolution, dated 5th June 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 76 to 85 of the exhibits. A letter from the State Department for Devolution to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, dated 5th June 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 86 of the exhibits. Videos of the governor's relatives' trip to China, which are produced in the flash disk, which was presented herewith. A letter dated 6th June 2023, describing Nefat Kenywa as the Director of External Leakages, a copy of which is produced on pages 87 of the exhibit. A short list and interview schedule for various posts in the office of the governor, dated 6th September 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 88 to 91 of the exhibits. An internal memo dated 23rd August 2023, appointing Edwin Mutuma Murangeri, the CEO of Meru Youth Service, as the acting chief officer for finance, a copy of which is produced on pages 92 to 93 of the exhibits. And K, screen grabs of the governor's official Facebook page, post on 23rd May 2023, copies of which are produced on pages 94 to 100 of the exhibits. Honorable Speaker, count number 3, bullying, vilification, and demeaning other leaders. The governor has grossly violated, among others, Articles 10, 19, Sub-Article 2, 28, 73, and 75 and 179 of the Constitution, Sections 9, Subsection B, 19, and 24 of the Public Officers Ethics Act, Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and Sections 30, Subsection 2, and 3, C, and D of the County Governments Act, by engagement, connivance, and or complicity in, among others, the following. A, exclusion of the Deputy Governor from County Executive Committee meetings and other official functions. B, bullying, undermining, and posting insulting and demeaning messages about the Deputy Governor in our WhatsApp group styled That Government 012, whose membership includes several officers who are subordinate to the deputy governor. C, encouraging and condoning insubordination and the making of insulting and demeaning public utterances by subordinate staff against the deputy governor and other elected leaders. D, bullying, undermining, and posting insulting and demeaning messages about the deputy governor in a WhatsApp group styled counter-demean services, whose membership includes several officers who are subordinate to the deputy governor. Encouraging and condoning the removal of the deputy governor by junior officers from official county WhatsApp communication forums. Arbitrary suspension, dismissal, withdrawal, and frustration of the staff of the office of the deputy governor. Illegally, irregularly, and fraudulently holding the deputy governor's staff out of office by purporting to accept their non-existent resignation. Arbitrary reduction, suspension, and withdrawal of budgetary facilitation for legitimate operations of the office of the deputy governor. Threatening to inflict bodily harm against the deputy governor orally and in WhatsApp chats. Forceful breaking, entry and ransacking of the deputy governor's office, changing the logs to the deputy governor's office, arbitrary relocation to the deputy governor's office, arbitrary withdrawal of security from the deputy governor's residences, and persistently making demeaning public utterances against other elected leaders, despite the same issue featuring prominently in the previous impeachment proceedings. Making insightful, insulting, and demeaning remarks against other leaders by falsely accusing them of cartelism at a presidential Thanksgiving service held in Lare, despite this issue arising in previous impeachment proceedings, and encouraging, conniving, and condoning her husband's insulting and demeaning public utterances and musical performances against other elected leaders, despite this issue featuring in previous impeachment proceedings. Honorable Speaker, evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and the complicity in the preceding gross violations of the Constitution and the law, gross misconduct, and gross abuse of office is to be found in A, the answer of the meeting of the Sectoral Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs, and Cohesion held on 29 September 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 101 to 124 of the exhibits. Screen grabs from the WhatsApp group styled Land Government 012 and County Admin Services, copies of which are produced on pages 125 to 194 of the exhibits. Correspondence relating to the appointment of Patrick Nkunga as the personal assistant to the Deputy Governor, a copy of which is produced on pages 105 to 198 of the exhibits. D, a letter by the Governor's Chief of Staff dated 22nd May 2023 purporting to accept an non-existent resignation from Patrick Nkunga, a copy of which is produced on pages 199 of the exhibits. The purported resignation of Patrick Nkunga on 18th May 2023 is a fabrication of the Governor's Chief of Staff. A claim by Patrick Nkunga for withheld salary dated 25th August 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 200 to 201 of the exhibits. The appointment letter for Kombudu Paul Gekamati as the chief driver to the Deputy Governor dated 30th August 2022, a copy of which is produced on pages 202 to 203 of the exhibits. A letter by the Governor's Chief of Staff dated 19th May 2023 purporting to accept an non-existent resignation from Kombudu Paul Gekamati, a copy of which is produced on pages 204 of the exhibits. And one letter by Kombudu Paul Gekamati's advocates for withheld salary dated 13th June 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 205 to 211 of the exhibits. A letter by the Deputy Governor's personal assistant to the Chief of Public Administration dated 14th July 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 212 of the exhibits. Correspondence dated 11th August 2023 to 11th September 2023 relating to repairs, service and fuel for the Deputy Governor's official motor vehicle, copies of which are produced on pages 213 to 219 of the exhibit. An internal memo by the Deputy Governor's personal assistant to the Chief Officer of Finance dated 23rd August 2023, requesting facilitation to attend a Meru Leaders meeting at the Nakuru State Lodge, a copy of which is produced on pages 220 to 225 of the exhibits. An internal memo by the Deputy Governor to the County Secretary relating to CEC meetings dated 25th August 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 226 of the exhibits. Correspondence between the Governor's Chief of Staff, the Deputy Governor, and the County Secretary dated 30th August 2023 to 12th September 2023 relating to the relocation of the Deputy Governor's office, copies of which are produced on pages 227 to 229 of the exhibits. A letter by the Deputy Governor to the Speaker of the Meru County Assembly relating to office facilitation dated 30th August 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 230 of the exhibits. A letter by the Deputy Governor to the Speaker of the Meru County Assembly relating to the exclusion from CEC meetings dated 30th August 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 231 of the exhibits. A letter by the Deputy Governor to the Secretary of the County Public Service Board relating to the staffing of the Deputy Governor's office dated 30th August 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 232 of the exhibits. A letter by the Deputy Governor to the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya relating to reconciliation dated 1st of September 2023, a copy of which is produced on page 233 of the exhibits. A letter by the Deputy Governor to the Clerk of the Senate relating to an invitation to CEC meetings and office facilitation dated 1st September 2023, a copy of which is produced on page 234 of the exhibits. A letter by the Deputy Governor to the Chairperson of the Council of Governors and Chairperson of the Deputy Governor's Caucus relating to reconciliation dated 1st September 2023, a copy of which is produced on page 205 of the exhibits. An internal memo by the Deputy Governor to the County Secretary dated 11th September 2023, a copy of which is produced on page 236 of the exhibits. Receipts evidencing the Deputy Governor's expenses on official motor vehicles after denial of facilitation, that is, copies of which are produced on pages 207 to 242 of the exhibits. Correspondence relating to the invitation of the County Executive Committee member for Finance to appear before the Assembly to shed light on complaints by the Deputy Governor, a copy of which is produced on pages 243 to 248 of the exhibits. Police OB numbers relating to breaking in the Deputy Governor's office and forgery of his driver's resignation letter, copies of which are produced on page 249 of the exhibits, and a video recording of the Governor accusing other leaders of cartelism at a presidential Thanksgiving service held in Laare, which is saved in the flash disk presented herewith, and a transcript of which is produced on page 250 of the exhibits. Video recording of an insulting, demeaning, and insightful musical performance by the Governor and her husband at Kiotene, which is saved in the flash disk presented herewith, and the transcript of which is produced on pages 251 to 252 of the exhibits. Video recording of the Governor's Chief of Staff making highly vulgar, insulting, demeaning, and insightful remarks against the Deputy Governor on Vita TV, which is owned by the Governor through relatives and proxies, which is saved in the flash disk presented herewith, and the transcript of which is produced on page 447 of the exhibits, and video recording of the Governor dissing MCAs and other elected leaders at a public rally and boasting of how she easily won previous impeachment proceedings, a copy of which is saved in the flash disk presented herewith. Honorable Speaker, count number 4 is illegal appointments and usurpation of statutory powers, where the governor has grossly violated, among others, Articles 10, 41, 201, 232, 235, and 236 of the Constitution, Section 17 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, Section 45, 55, 59, 59A, 60, 62, 63, 64, and 65 of the County Governments Act, Section 4 of the Public Appointments Act 2017, Section 34, Subsection 3 of the Public Service Commission Act 2017, Sections 9, Subsection 2 of the Meru County Revenue Board Act 2014, Sections 4, Subsection 2 of the Meru County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2014, Sections 11, Subsection 2 of the Meru County Microfinance Corporation Act, and Section 18, Subsection 2 of the Meru County Water and Sanitation Services Act 2014 by engagement, connivance, and or complicity in, among others, the following. A, appointing Kenneth Mutiriongo as a chief officer without county assembly approval. B, sending Dr. Ntoiti, CEO of the County Revenue Board, Paul Mwaki, CEO of Liquor Board, Kenneth Kimathi Mbaye, Managing Director of Meru Microfinance Corporation, and Joseph Kidhure Mberia, CEO Mewaz, on indefinite compulsory leave with full salary and benefits in the usurpation of the powers of the appointing authorities under the relevant Meru County laws. C, deploying other persons in breach of a court order to perform the functions of the persons alluded to in subparagraph C above. D, appointing unqualified person, that is Edwin Mutuma Murangeri, Kenneth Mutiriongo, and Getobun Kanata, as acting chief officers without the requisite competitive recruitment and recommendation of the County Public Service Board. E, disregarding the criteria for the establishment of offices within the County Public Service by recruiting traffic marshals without the involvement of the County Public Service Board. Usurping the powers of the County Public Service Board by creating offices of the traffic marshals, which is the sole preserve of the County Public Service Board. Employing a bloated workforce, more than 100 personal staff in the office of the governor, irregularly designating and paying various cleaners as senior support staff while having 16 support staff, appointing the following persons to hold county offices in an acting capacity for more than 6 months. 1, Monica Kagwema, Chief Officer Youth. 2, Kome Mudhuri, Director Health Services. 3, Francis Mungai, CEO, County Revenue Board. 4, Cyrus Mbabu Moguna, CEO, Liquor Board. Honorable Speaker, the evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and or complicity in the proceedings, gross violation of the Constitution and the law, gross misconduct, and gross abuse of office is to be found in A, documents relating to the staffing needs of the office of the governor, adverts and shortlisting of chief officers, copies of which are produced on pages 253 to 294 of the exhibits. B, an internal memo by the County Secretary dated 23rd August 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 205 to 206 of the exhibits. Summons issued by the Assembly Sectoral Committee on Labor, Public Service and Social Welfare on 26th September 2023, copies of which are produced on pages 297 to 310 of the exhibits. Response by the County Secretary communicating the decision of the Governor, the Chief of Staff, County Secretary, County Executive Committee Member for Finance, and the Fleet Manager, not to appear before the Sectoral Committee of the Assembly, thus inviting an adverse inference against the Governor, a copy of which is produced on pages 311 to 312 of the exhibits. The handstand of the meeting of the Sectoral Committee on Labor, Public Service and Social Welfare held on 5th October 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 313 to 323 of the exhibits. The County Public Service Human Resources Manual 2013 and the Public Service Commission Human Resources Manual 2016, relevant extracts of which are produced on pages 324 to 334 of the exhibits. Internal memo dated 22nd December 2022 by the County Public Service Board to chief officers through the County Secretary, advising on transfers, appointments, and establishment of offices within the County Public Service, a copy of which is produced on page 335 of the exhibit. Letters sending various officers on compulsory leave, copies of which are produced on pages 336 to 342 of the exhibits. Circulars, guidelines from the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, the Transition Authority, and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission on the staffing of the Office of Governor, copies of which are produced on pages 343 to 353 of the exhibits. Correspondence relating to the bloated workforce in the Governor's office, copies of which are produced on pages 354 to 362 of the exhibits. Payslips relating to some of the bloated workforce in the office of the Governor, copies of which are produced on pages 363 to 382 of the exhibits. Correspondence between the Assembly and the County Public Service Board on the appointment of chief officers and the employment of various staff within the office of the Governor, copies of which are produced on pages 383 to 408 of the exhibits. Screen grabs from the Governor's official Facebook page relating to the appointment of traffic marshals, copies of which are produced on pages 409 to 412 of the exhibits, and a video recording of the Governor flagging off traffic marshals saved in the flash disk presented herewith, and a transcript of which is produced on pages 413 to 414 of the exhibits. Honorable Speaker, count number 5 is contempt of court, where the Governor has grossly violated, among others, Articles 10 and 73 of the Constitution, Section 7 of the Leadership and Integrity Act by engagement, and Section 10 of the Public Officers Act by connivance and a complicity in a contumacious, stubborn refusal to obey lawful court orders. Which evidence of the Governor's engagement, connivance, and complicity in this gross violation of the Constitution and the law, gross misconduct, gross abuse of office, is to be found in A video recording saved in the flash disk presented herewith, and a transcript of which is produced on page 415 of the exhibits. An order issued by the Employment and Labor Relations Court on 7th October 2022, a copy of which is produced on pages 416 to 417 of the exhibits. A ruling delivered by the Employment and Labor Relations Court at Meru on 29th September 2023, finding the Governor and other persons guilty of contempt, a copy of which is produced on pages 418 to 439 of the exhibits, and an order extracted from the ruling alluded to in the preceding subparagraph, a copy of which is produced on pages 440 to 441 of the exhibits. Count number 6, Honorable Speaker, is the illegal naming of a public road after husband, where the Governor grossly violated, among others, Articles 10, 73 of the Constitution, Articles 10 and Article 73 of the Constitution, Sections 7 and 11, subsection 1, C of the Meru County Owners and Awards Act 2018, by naming a public road after her husband without following the applicable statutory procedures. Honorable Speaker, evidence of the Governor's engagement, connivance, and the complicity in the foreseen gross violation of the Constitution and the law, gross misconduct, and gross abuse of office is to be found in a screen grab from the Governor's official Facebook page, a copy of which is produced on page 442 of the exhibits, and B, a screen grab from the Governor's husband's official Facebook page, a copy of which is produced on page 443 of the exhibits. Count number 7, Honorable Speaker, is contempt of the Assembly. Honorable Speaker, the Governor has grossly violated, among others, Articles 10, 174, Sub-Article 1, Article 185, Sub-Article 3, and 195 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the County Governments Act 2012, and Section 18, 22, and 27 of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017 by engagement, connivance, and complicity in the following: A, refusing to honor lawful summons to appear before the assemblies, before the Assembly's Sectoral Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Cohesion to answer questions to the matters raised in the preceding parts of this impeachment motion. B, directing a Chief of Staff and accomplice and lackey in malfeasance to write a contemptuous letter to the Assembly in response to lawful summons to appear before the Assembly's Sectoral Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Cohesion, and C, in the refusal by a County Executive Committee member, Finance, and County Secretary to furnish documents to the Assembly on the frivolous grounds that 1, an incoherent audit process was underway, and 2, the matters raised by the Assembly were sub judice, the later frivolous ground being also disingenuous and contrived when viewed again. I invite the second of the motion, who is the leader of the minority party in the Assembly. Allow me to prosecute a few counts in the special motion, Honorable Speaker. The Governor grossly violated, among others, Articles 10, 73 of the Constitution. Articles 10 and Article 73 of the Constitution, Sections 7 and 11, subsection 1, C of the Meru County Honors and Awards Act 2018, by naming a public road after her husband without following the applicable statutory procedures. Honorable Speaker, evidence of the Governor's engagement, connivance, and the complicity in the aforesaid gross violation of the Constitution and the law, gross misconduct and gross abuse of office is to be found in a screen grab from the Governor's official Facebook page, a copy of which is produced on page 442 of the exhibits, and B, a screen grab from the Governor's husband's official Facebook page, a copy of which is produced on page 443 of the exhibits. Count number 7, Honorable Speaker, is contempt of the Assembly. Honorable Speaker, the Governor has grossly violated, among others, Articles 10, 174, Sub-Article 1, Article 185, Sub-Article 3, and 195 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the County Governments Act 2012, and Section 18, 22, and 27 of the County Assembly's Powers and Privileges Act 2017 by engagement, connivance, and complicity in the following: A, refusing to honor lawful summons to appear before the assemblies, before the Assembly's Sectoral Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Cohesion to answer questions to the matters raised in the preceding parts of this impeachment motion. B, directing a Chief of Staff and accomplice and lackey in malfeasance to write a contemptuous letter to the Assembly in response to lawful summons to appear before the Assembly's Sectoral Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Cohesion, and C, in the refusal by a County Executive Committee member, Finance, and County Secretary to furnish documents to the Assembly on the frivolous grounds that 1, An incoherent audit process was underway, and 2, the matters raised by the Assembly were sub judice, the later frivolous ground being also disingenuous and contrived when viewed against the fact that the governor has already been convicted of contempt of court. Evidence of the governor's engagement, connivance, and complicity in the aforesaid gross violation of the Constitution and the law is to be found in a letter by the governor's chief of staff dated 11th October 2023, a copy of which is produced on pages 444 to 445 of the exhibits. Honorable Speaker, that is the content of the motion. And Honorable Speaker, before I invite the second of the motion, who is the leader of the minority party in the Assembly, allow me to prosecute a few counts in the special motion, Honorable Speaker. Sorry for that, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm saying before I invite the leader of the minority party to second the motion, allow me to prosecute a few counts which are forming content of this motion. But before that, Honorable Speaker, allow me to inform the Honorable Assembly that the Constitution has created a mechanism of correcting a mess that the residents and electorates maybe of Meru County might have created by electing one Honorable Kawira Mwangaza into the office of the governor of Meru County. And that mechanism is provided for in the Constitution through Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Governments Act, and Standing Order number 65 of this County Assembly. And that is through impeachment, so that we can be able to correct a mess that was created during elections or a mess that was created by democracy, Honorable Speaker. Article 176 of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, establishes the county governments which have two arms of one being the executive and the other one being the county assembly. And this one, Honorable Speaker, provides for separation of powers, which gives us the authority as a county assembly to oversight the county executive, having those powers having been donated to us by the people of Meru who voted during the previous elections, Honorable Speaker. And by impeaching or moving the motion to impeach the governor is one of our roles that we have been mandated to by the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, count number 1 that we are charging the governor of Meru with, that is misappropriation and misuse of county resources. We have seen how the governor has grossly violated the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. The governor has also violated the Leadership and Integrity Act. The governor has violated the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015, and also the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, Honorable Speaker. And to prove this, Honorable Speaker, I want to request that the table of the clerks of place for us the video. There is video for the Makiri Okolea rally, which was which is in the flash disk. There is a video recording of the violence that erupted at the Okolea rally held at the Makiri on 16 September, so that we can prove, Honorable Speaker, that the governor, despite being won by the Senate in the previous impeachment process, that she should completely not conflict the Okolea rallies and government operations, which she has gone ahead to bridge, Honorable Speaker, because we will see how government vehicles were stoned during the rally, and also we will see in the video county employees engaging in the Okorea rallies, and we have evidence that the guys who will be shown in that video are employees of the county government, because we have pay slips with their names and their personal numbers that they used to be employed in the county government. Therefore, I request the table of clerks to play that video.
Wakuje hapa kwanza tuombe. Nitoleke na ng'ombe ngeni kwa keteka hiyo kwa wako watu kwa tetea. Unaona angalia kwa wako wako wateja. Tunaenda toki nyongera. Tuingie ndani ya maisha mwanda wake. Ni mtoto juu. Basi sasa. Dawa basi sasa kwa basi sasa. Unaona komeni. Ni wao komeni. Eno aleta na mbele. Aleta na mbele. Aleta nyumba ya rusi. Aleta nyumba ya ngoroba. Ndawa basi sasa kwa basi sasa.
Andobakie. Bwana asifiwe. Tutiana uhuru. Katiba ya Kenya ilete Kenya muntu kweta onde ala kwenda. Oni ndenga bana ntiri nyaka ana kumukuma compound ile tukana tia mochiri wako nyungwa. Kyoto mochiri muntu. Kwa hivyo kama umepangwa kukuja hapa, tuko hapa tayari, tutapambana kiroho, tutapambana kisheria na hakuna uoga. Bwana asifiwe. Na ingo shokelea ya ile okay ya kuwa no koromo ikawera ari governor 2077 yete kuraya. Ruhama na maoro yako tukutambue. Tukiomba kutambua tukuwatumia wana wetu kwa maisha. Hiyo ni ujinga na ni upumbavu. Mtoto kwa wangu ni maisha. Mtoto kama ana babu ni maisha. Wewe wangu ana moko kwa maisha. Kana wewe wangu ya maisha. Tukuona kiani neke. Ile tu kutambua. Lakini hii chini ya nyanga utumia tu ana kwa hizo waziri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Article 201 of the Constitution provides for how public money shall be used, that is both prudently and in a responsible way. And in this respect, the governor fails to abide by that provision of the Constitution, because, Honorable Speaker, through that rally, the governor of Meru used both the financial resources for the county and also human resource for the county, as it will also be established, Honorable Speaker, because that incident was reported at Maua police station, where we have in the exhibits OB number A copy of the exhibit, Honorable Speaker, is provided in the exhibit. That is the Maua Chief Magistrate Court Miscellaneous Criminal Application number E085 of 2023, where it was reported that county vehicles were stoned, and also there were county employees who were charged in that miscellaneous criminal application, Honorable Speaker. That is one, Mr. Salesio Munene Kanga La Samaritan and Isaiah Toribi Kiuki, who are employees of the county government of Meru, and their pay slips, Honorable Speaker, are produced on pages 50 to 51 of the exhibits. Therefore, there is enough evidence, Honorable Speaker, that the governor of Meru has misappropriated and misused county resources. Honorable Speaker, allow me before to proceed also to bring to the attention of the honorable members the responsibilities of the governor, because in some of the counts, Honorable Speaker, someone might ask themselves, how is that related to the governor of Meru? But Honorable Speaker, in County Governments Act, Section 30, there are functions and responsibilities of our county governor outlined there, and I'll highlight a few. Subject to the Constitution, that is Section 30, subsection 2, Honorable Speaker, subject to the Constitution, the governor shall diligently execute the functions and exercise the authority provided for in the Constitution and legislation, that is Part A. Part F, submit the county plans and policies to the county assembly for approval. Also, Part J, submit to the county assembly an annual report on the implementation status of the county policies and plans. And Part I, sign and cause to be published in the county gazette notice of all important formal decisions made by the governor or by the county executive committee. Subsection 3 of the same, Honorable Speaker, states, in performing the functions under subsection 2, the governor shall A, provide leadership in the county's governance and development. B, provide leadership to the county executive committee and administration based on the county policies and plans. C, promote democracy, good governance, note good governance, unity and cohesion within the county. D, promote peace and order, note peace and order within the county. E, promote the competitiveness of the county. And F, be accountable for the management and use of the county resources. Therefore, Part F, Honorable Speaker, is the governor culpable of whatever happened at Makiri, because she needs to be accountable for the management and use of the county resources. Honorable Speaker, still at count number 1, we have seen how embezzlement of county government funds has happened through the governor's relatives, which is in contravention of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and also the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, and also the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. Honorable Speaker, the Leadership and Integrity Act 2012, Sections 8, Section 8 states that a state officer is a position of public trust, and the authority and responsibility vested in a state officer shall be exercised by the state officer in the best interest of the people of Kenya. Then Part 12 states, Section 12, subsection 1 states, a state officer shall not use the office to unlawfully or wrongfully enrich himself or herself or any other person. Then Section 16 speaks of a conflict of interest, where it says a state officer or a public officer shall use the best efforts to avoid being in a situation where personal interest conflict or appear to conflict with the state officer or public officer's official duties. And Honorable Speaker, the other one speaks of, that is in a Public Officer Ethics Act, where it speaks of nepotism, where where a public officer shall not, that is a Public Officer Ethics Act Section 17, a public officer shall not practice nepotism or favoritism. But Honorable Speaker, we have seen the governor's relatives, which we may say do show some conflict of interest. They have drawn county funds through their personal accounts. They have also proceeded, Honorable Governor, to supply or offer tenders to the county where they are ineligible. And Honorable Speaker, that is also proved through a letter where the county assembly asked for IFMIS report from the county executive committee member for finance, whereby they declined. And that one, Honorable Speaker, has a negative influence of the governor, because, Honorable Speaker, where we are supposed to ask for information that they have, they should provide that information unless they are hiding the truth. Therefore, we know that this allegation is a truthful allegation, since they declined to offer us with the IFMIS report to be able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that these governor's relatives did not draw from the county funds, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me proceed to count number 2. Count number 2, Honorable Speaker, is where the governor is accused of nepotism and related unethical practices. In the previous count, Honorable Speaker, I've shown where the Public Officers Ethics Act, Section 17, states that a person shall not be involved in nepotism or favoritism. But the governor has proceeded, Honorable Speaker, especially where the Beijing Tech Limited Company invited the governor for a tour in China. And Honorable Speaker, you'll be amazed to find out that the governor, in her own wisdom, or lack of wisdom, decided to appoint a technical team through the county secretary, which is also in the letters that are attached in the exhibits, where the county secretary, Honorable Speaker, went ahead and appointed one, the governor's sister, who is a PA, to be a part of the technical team. He proceeded to appoint one of our brothers, who is a bodyguard, Honorable Speaker, and funny, you wonder how a police officer will be part of a technical team to go and benchmark on medical equipment to also proceed to China. She proceeded, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Majority, you do verify if he's also a medical conductor. He can be a medical conductor and then an askari.
Sorry?
Did you verify if he's a medical conductor? What does the document that he has given say?
Honorable Speaker, in part of the exhibits that we have, there is a letter in Chinese by the Beijing League Tech Company. That is in exhibit number page 60 to 67. And also a letter from the county government to the State Department of Devolution, dated 10/26, page 68 to 75. As all those details, and let me take you through them, Honorable Speaker, page 68 to 75. The letter by the Beijing League Tech Company Limited, Honorable Speaker, let me read it verbatim, was addressed to Her Excellency Governor Kawira Mwangaza, Governor, County Government of Meru, PO Box, blah, 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 Your Excellency, the invitation for a visit to China. And the trend is, Honorable Speaker, we are delighted to invite you and your distinguished members to visit us in China for you to witness and benchmark our state-of-art linear accelerator machines designed and manufactured in China in reference to our planned cancer treatment center in Meru, Kenya. Take note, Honorable Speaker, benchmark on state-of-art linear accelerator machines designed and manufactured in China in our reference to our planned cancer treatment center in Meru, Kenya. Among other activities, you will also have an opportunity to visit other medical equipment manufacturer that produce digital radiography, X-ray equipment, and a mobile C-arm that we plan to manufacture and assemble in Kenya, preferably in a designated special economic zone. With this trip, we believe you will not only get to know who we are and what we offer, but also have confidence with our ability to execute our plans in ensuring that a state-of-art cancer treatment center is set up in Meru, Kenya in time. Then it proceeds and it's signed by Militon H. Young, Chairman and CEO. Honorable Speaker, the letter was not specific. But in your own wisdom, Honorable Speaker, I wonder how a normal person would appoint a police officer, Honorable Speaker, to go and benchmark or to go and witness the state of art linear accelerator machines, which, Honorable Speaker, is not something that everybody will understand. But Honorable Speaker, prove...
Honorable Majority, I believe also a cancer treatment center requires a security officer. Is it true or false?
But security officers, Honorable Speaker, are not required to travel to China to be trained how to protect such facilities. Because, and Honorable Speaker, you see in a letter from the County Secretary and Head of Public Service, he states, which is addressed to the Principal Secretary, State Department of Devolution, the reference is Meru County Delegation Official Visit to China from 7th June to 17th June 2023. In that letter, Honorable Speaker, it is noted that delegation of the Meru County government is scheduled to make an official visit, to China with effect from 7th June to 17th June 2023. And in this respect, the county government of Meru requests the Department of Devolution to communicate this information to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora for the purposes of the letter to communicate to the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Nairobi to issue the county delegation with entry visas. And he states the technical team is as follows, Honorable Speaker. 1, Dr. George Mungania, and the identity number is there, who is, I believe, is the county executive